And we are back for the final hour of the Awake Nation. And my favorite co-hosts are here. Heather Day, how are you again?
Doing great. Doing great. Hi, ladies.
Very, very successful
Hey,
show.
Heather.
Karen Britt, love you to death, woman, and Tara Crete. Karen, what have you been up to in the past couple of days?
Well, I've been hanging out with you yesterday.
Yes, I know, but you know what? I know what you can do in 24 hours. Okay. Have you been doing shows and stuff? Did you
Yes,
go to
ma'am.
Africa in the meantime? Did you yesterday?
Did I go to Africa?
Just asking.
No.
You know what David said? David said, you know, those times that you see her like leaving where she says that she's letting the dog out. She's actually co-hosting another show. That's you. That's you, Karen Britt.
No.
Tara, how are you?
I'm happy. How are you? Hi, ladies. Nice to see you all.
Really good. And I want to thank you all for joining for this last hour. We're going to have an interesting last hour. We're starting something new. I'm going to bring this in with my best friend, who I call my sister, Susie Q. And it's called the Serial Killers Club. Okay, and let me just bring this in real quick. And we're going to be discussing their discoveries, which I'm working, you know, of course, with Susie. But this is called the Serial Killers Club. Of course, you see all the cereal, you know, killer cereal. And they're going to be discussing serial killers and then also cults. And as you may or may not be acquainted with the fact that Susie in the 70s, in the late 70s, was in Jacksonville, and she was almost a victim of Otis Toole and Henry Lee Lucas, who Otis Toole was, they said that Otis Toole was the one who killed Adam Walsh, and that between the two of them, they confessed to over, I believe it was 600 murders, which I don't believe that they actually did. I think that it was just a way for the police to clean the slate of unsolved murders, some of which that they may have indeed been complicit in. So I'm going to just introduce Susie again. Susie Q, White Horse Productions. She's a world cutting horse champion, owner of a horse ranch and event center, and entrepreneur who escaped being murdered by serial killers Otis Toole and Henry Lee Lucas in Jacksonville. She has a new podcast called The Serial Killers Club. And Brenda, I hope I don't machinate your name, Lankarge. Brenda Lankarge is a psychic medium and retired law enforcement. She worked in the hospital industry for 10 years. She's now working with Susie Q in their new podcast, The Serial Killers Club. So with that, I will bring both of them in. 1 second. Let me just pull this off so we can see each other. And there's Susie Q and Brenda.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, ladies.
Hi, Brenda.
Hello, everyone.
Hello there.
So today, you've given me some things that we're going to be discussing about, and I believe we're going to be discussing two things which actually might be intertwined within the same thing. One of the things that we're going to be discussing is it called profundity?
Profundity.
Profundity.
Oh,
Profundity. And hold on just a sec. And I'm going to pull up the article because I have an article which we've been researching that. And then also, along with the Serial Killers Club, you're going to be discussing missing persons as well. Let's see where that is. Slide 101. Here we go. Okay, so let me bring this in, and I'll apprise you, ladies, of some of the things we're going to be talking about. A cult is preparing to take over Marietta, Texas. Attention, all Marietta, Texas residents. A cult is allegedly preparing to take over your town. It's growing. There's a man who actually revealed this to the public. He's a writer. The man in the video claims the group started out in a trailer park about 4 hours away and has now amassed thousands of followers and millions in assets, and is led by a woman named Linda McGillis, who claims to be one of the highest ranking commanders of the Intergalactic Federations of Worlds. So she's got that going for her, which is nice. From what I can gather, the main concern of the man making the video is that Profundity Yours is preparing Marietta for 144,000 refugees to come to town. They've even purchased the only restaurant in town, which an investigative reporter got that shot for me. And here's an article. Town officials warn the citizens of a cult trying to take over Marietta, Texas. Marietta is a small town in Cass County, Texas, about 150 miles east of Dallas, and local officials have a warning for its citizens: stay away from the cult. The alleged cult is called Profundity Yours. It is led by a woman named Linda McGillis, who claims to be one of the highest ranking commanders of the intergalactic federations of the world. And she also says her body was taken over by an alien. Journalist Saren Warner warns in a YouTube video that Profundity Yours started in a trailer park about 4 hours away from Marietta. It's now amassed thousands of followers and millions in assets. It's reportedly on its way to the small Texas town, and Marietta officials believe that some 144,000 refugees could be piling up soon. And let's add to this the individuals who are transiting or actually in the United States illegally, and also through Texas. Rumor has it that the cult has even purchased the only restaurant in town. This is a little bit from their site. They make it sound real good, right? Emerald Sun, City of Lights Ranch. Profundity Yours is a society of diverse humans coming together now to co-create a new environment, one of empowered gratitude and heart-based living as one with the earth. Each one of us contributes wisdom, experience, and limitless perspectives on new ways of being, living, and participating life. Now, I'm going to exit this, and I'm going to let the girls talk, and then you guys let me know when you want me to play that video. What has your research led you to believe regarding this cult?
Wow. Well, actually, I didn't know about the cult. I had been looking into other things, and Susie brought it up. And I was like, oh, let's take a look at this. And yeah, it's concerning. Very concerning.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Susie?
Well, what was your question, Penny? Actually,
Okay, so basically, let's lay some foundation in this, because people were telling you, they were talking to you about missing people over and over again. But then
right,
they also told you something about this cult,
right.
correct?
Yeah,
So
I had,
go ahead.
well, what her called Marietta. And then I heard, and then two other people, and one day came to me and asked me, have you heard about the cult in Marietta? Had you heard about the cult in Marietta? So I thought, gee, I better check into this and see what this is. And so that's when I started to look into it. So that's basically how it started.
Okay, so now you gave me a video. I have a couple of videos on this, but the videos when you told me watch this video, I was like, I can't watch this, because the voice to me, it's not a calming voice. It just seems very demonic to me. And you know that I have innate empathy and feelings about certain things. When I can tell somebody, I can shake somebody's hand and say, gee, your family knew Hitler, and I'm right on. Okay, so
Penny, something I need to say about this video before we play it. When we played it before on the Serial Killers Club podcast, we had another person watching it, and he was literally triggered by it, and he felt like the entity was speaking to him, and it put him to sleep. So that is a warning that this entity is very triggering to some people.
Now remember, she said she was taken over by an alien, and Susie and I, we see things in future aspects. Susie's had dreams that come true her whole life. Most of hers come true like the next day. And so when she says something, we're like, okay. And we pay heed to it, because we know that her dreams come true. Karen's laughing, but you know what I'm talking about, right, Karen? Like, okay, thank you. And also God has told me some things that transpired, which even Susan, wow, because now we actually have body cam evidence on that. So that was true. And I can't discuss it, but I've discussed it with some of you.
It's real.
It's real. So when she started playing this, I was like, no, I can't watch this. You're going to have to watch this, because I can't. And it's not that I get triggered by it, but I don't talk to demons. That's just my thing. You know, the demons were in my family. Apparently, I've talked to them a lot, and I'm just done with it. I don't want to talk to them anymore. They're a pain in the arse, and they always lie, right? She also says that she's an antipathy.
She's the entity of Ra.
She is the antithesis of truth.
Yeah.
The truth, the entity of truth. She's dispelling the entity of truth. So what is that? And again, remember, she said she's possessed by an alien. So in here, she also talks about a term that is unfamiliar, but it's familiar to me because we actually had a girl stay with us who we found out later on was a Satanist, and she had a Necronomicon, and I was like, what is that? And so I had to research what that was. And then we saw all of her satanic stuff. She was sleeping with these Satanists. She also did like the devil horns, a picture of herself in the mirror covered with blood. We're like, wow. That's right. That's just picturesque. And she came to cause division and strife within our family. Then after she left, we thought she was sex trafficked. After she left, she started telling people we sex trafficked her. And telling all these lies, right?
And we only fed her bread and butter, you know, but at least it was real butter, you know.
At least we gave her butter. And, you know, I don't have a lot of money, all right? But I have a big heart. So does Susie. Susie has a big heart. We try to help people. And so I was buying her stuff that she, you know, that she needed. And Susie was taking it out to these.
I was giving her hundreds of dollars put in her bank account so, you know, she could have money in her bank account too to help her.
Housing her for free. So then later on we found out, you know, all of her alliances, which then there was another person on Facebook that I finally had to tell her, look, stop texting us on this, because seriously, we appreciate it. But she said it was her mission to make sure that this girl was outed and discovered, and she was going around, you know, doing
but the girl that you're talking about is she followed me around everywhere. Like, she wouldn't leave me alone, like everywhere I went. And one day she says to me while she's sitting on the couch, don't tell Penny, but I'm a walk-in, because she wouldn't understand.
Oh,
you
my
know.
goodness.
Yeah, and I didn't know what the term was, but she said that she died when she was in Mexico, and that it was oh gosh. The one
she was
that
poisoned. She was poisoned, and she was talking about herself. She was saying Jen Parks, which that was her name. She said Jen Parks died in Mexico. She was poisoned.
And she said Jane Mansfield. James Mansfield.
I made a deal. I made a deal with her that I would get her children back for her. And so
watch out for people that talk about themselves in the third person. That's definitely a sign. People who speak of themselves in the third person, that's a sign. Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Yeah, right. Definitely a bad sign.
A very bad sign. And so she said she died when she was like 3, or however she was older than 3. She died when she was in Mexico. She was poisoned, and James Mansfield took her over, which I actually believe it because of how she.
Yeah, she said she was Jane Mansfield now. Yeah.
Yes, and
Jane Mansfield was Aunt LaVey's girlfriend, you know.
And she died in a car accident, and everywhere we went, people were trying to kill us when she was in the car, in our car. They were trying to ram us with their cars. So I kind of believe it. So let's bring in this video. Everyone's like, what is going on with these people?
Everybody protect themselves.
Yeah, I might just mute the whole sound and just
this is a creepy
it's
video.
It's a woman with a man's voice speaking. You know, it's a very manly tone coming from this woman.
Yeah, she explains her walking.
Anybody who's very sensitive to this, I am going to suggest, like Heather, and Heather, I can text you when it's over, to please, you know, mute the volume, go away, get some coffee, and then if you're, you know, rewatching this, skip over it if you're easily triggerable, because this individual is going to reveal some things of what I deem is a very satanic nature. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Ready, Freddie.
Here we go. Now, I don't like listening to it either. I'd like to mute myself, but I can't.
I'm going to be explaining my experience as a walk-in. I had to meet with the darkest, densest aspect of
Okay, so she starts with, I'm going to be explaining my experience with a walk-in. So when we hear that, Susie and I have already experienced that with an individual, because we're like, what is that, right? We've already experienced it with a very demonic individual who, is basically serving the dark side and the agenda of Satan. So we experience it personally in our lives. So when we hear this individual say that, and I'm like, that's not a girl, that's a guy, because the voice is, unless she's like been smoking 5 packs of cigarettes a day, it's just a very wiggy voice. Okay.
when I first
True.
walked in. Scary as fuck. The fractal of Linda left and went back to source, never to be again. It's
Okay.
I don't have a
The fractal of Linda left, went back to source, never to be again. I'm just going to stop right there for a moment. Any comments? What you just heard?
I don't think I'd be lending anybody my body when I'm gone. So that's a scary thought.
Any
I'd like to,
comments?
what part of her, what fractal, which part of her isn't there anymore? That's a little bit frightening.
I think she basically is saying that she is not anymore. That person that was Linda
Yeah.
McGillis is not
Mhm.
anymore.
But this
And that's
is a,
total possession.
yeah,
That's
it's
what
the
they call
soul.
total
It's
possession. Black
it's the
magic.
one entity now that lives in this body. That
Yes.
Linda actually died. Linda left the body, and now the body was vacated, and then this entity has now occupying this person.
And by the way, just as an added little bonus, her husband is in prison for child porn.
Yes.
All right. Just
So with-
an added little bonus on that.
With black magic, that's what they do is they engage with these entities and they give away a part of themselves over and over until there's a walk-in and then it becomes a total possession.
Yep.
And their entire soul is traded away. It's
Okay,
just
I'm
slavery.
gonna take this off the screen for just a second. Karen, thoughts?
Go ahead.
Thoughts on what we've just seen?
I want to hear what this lady's got to say.
Okay. Tara, thoughts on what we've just seen?
I just, that little bit, I mean, a fractal of her was taken away. I don't want any parts of me taken away, never to come back without
Exactly.
without my permission. It reminds me of the whole transhumanism AI thing they have going on, where they want to take our souls and put it into a robot. So yeah, I'm with Karen. I'd like to hear more as well.
Yeah. Heather?
Yeah, like I said, from what I've studied in these types of religions with black magic and things, they make these deals, they invoke these spirits, and then eventually there's nothing left of the original person. And that is what they call a walk-in, or what I would call total possession. And I agree, Tara, I don't want to lose pieces of myself. We can lose, in a shamanistic perspective, fractals of ourselves in trauma, but I want to go back and retrieve those. And the only spirit I'm hosting is the Holy Spirit. I don't need any other spirit. So that's what I didn't
True.
listen to what she was saying, but I saw her eyes, and the
Right.
person was believing what they were saying. I didn't hear what they said. So
Okay. You can mute again because I'm going to continue to play it. So let me bring it back in. Here we go.
present. You guys have a present life. So how long have I been in Linda's vessel? I walked into this vessel April 25th, 2014. There's only 5 walk-ins that have occurred, and 2 of them have short-circuited. That's why there's very few actual walk-ins. It's just too detrimental to the consciousness. So for 9 months, my vessel was prepared for the walk-in. Did my vessel fully comprehend? Absolutely not. And it was designed that way. The rape my vessel went through, in your human terms, it's a violation of the body. And the rape was the start of preparing the vessel for the.
Okay. Is she saying that she was raped?
Right, like a trauma. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like the fact that she said that, was Linda fully aware of what was happening? And she said, no, it's designed that way. That is
Right.
part of Satan's lie. So that's,
So and overtaking,
Yep.
without complete disclosure or permission of the. And also when we had some cult members on from Heaven's Gate, which I actually like them. They're very nice people. But they referred again to their bodies as vehicles. And this is a way of actually dehumanizing
Yes.
our actual bodies. They're not referring to it as body anymore. They're referring to it as like a car, right? It's not a car.
Right. Like
Right.
Linda, it's a vessel. It's a vessel.
Yes.
So you're not human.
Yes.
But now she had to have, now Satan usually has to have permission or inform you what he's doing. So she had Linda's permission. Somehow she got her to agree to this, whether Linda was into Satanism before, I don't know, but she had some kind of permission.
Brenda,
I
as
would say
understand it,
yes,
I think-
because her husband was into child pornography and she wants to get back with him. So I'd say definitely yes.
Yes.
Tara?
I was going to say, don't they, we have free will here. I think
Yes.
for everyone, whether it's Satan or God, neither of them can
True.
pull us into anything. However, I believe that we can be tricked into things. I
Yes.
think that's like on the board. I think that's okay.
Right.
And that's what she said. Was she fully aware? No. It
And
was
this is the
designed
cult.
that
So can
way.
I just clarify? This is the cult leader of this profundity
Yes.
group. Wow. Okay.
Yes. And we'll get to the 144,000, which they're soliciting, which you know exactly what that means, right?
Right.
Everybody here.
Biblically,
That's
yes.
biblical.
Looking for
Okay.
And that's in all of these
144,000
cults, by the
members.
way. That's in all of these cults. The Doomsday cult that Lori Vallow was just involved in. I mean, that's a very common theme that you're one of the 144,000. That's so
Mhm.
interesting.
And Lori had murdered her children.
Yeah.
And went on vacation with her new cult leader husband.
Exactly.
And
And-
this lady here, she does not want children in her cult. No children.
Interesting.
If you have children and you enter it, you got to get rid of them.
That was the same thing with Heaven's Gate. They had to leave their families. Heaven's Gate was in San Diego. I lived there at the time. And they could not bring their children. And they were under the guise that they were going to be, picked up by a ship. I'm going to have to revisit them again and bring them in. But again, they referred to, and the members do not believe that they were mind controlled. There's still members that are alive that, they're refuting that they were actually mind controlled. That's horrific.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying they got conned out of their money from Linda.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to continue. One second.
Well, an experience, and I'm aware of that. Did my voice change? Yes. Did the fractal of Linda leave? Yes. There's just because I'm a walk-in doesn't mean I'm special. It took 3 times for my consciousness to walk into my vessel, and I went through extreme pain. There's pictures in a folder on my Facebook wall of blisters this big. I tried to walk in at a 12th dimensional frequency, and we had to lower it down to a 7th dimensional frequency. Now, if all of you guys were to disappear into light, you guys would freak the shit out of each other. You guys would be driving around down the road, and people see ghosts in wrecked cars. For me, I have a planetary consciousness of 12 great grand central suns, 5 of which have been blown up. In that moment, humanity was annihilated. For me, I can spot.
In that moment, humanity was annihilated. Any idea what she's talking about, guys?
To me, it sounds like she's talking about there was another world like ours with humanity on it that was gone. Now, could have been when they talk about what cavemen and all that, how they just gone.
Tara?
I'm not vibing with this yet. I'm trying to figure this person out. I don't even want to call her a lady. I was trying to be polite.
Okay.
I don't quite understand.
I know. I have to listen to it like little pieces also because the voice to me is just
The voice it's grating. It's hard.
it's very
Anything. See, I can disappear. Let me see if I can change the angle of this and show you guys what I mean. Mariana, I know you're listening. Can you come help me for a moment? Can you see that? Can you see the blue outline here? You guys are blue beings. I don't know if you could see it. The DNA within the vessel of Linda holds the DNA of the very first atom of DNA that made the very first DNA strand. And I know to you starseeds that it's exciting. I understand how cool it sounds. There is only your Akashic records because you were moved into not just a different broadband frequency, but you were taken through a wormhole that was not expected. Well, I can guarantee you if there's scientific proof that says this is true, there's scientific proof that will say that is not true. Again, duality. And that's how you guys get trapped. Outside of the limitation, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which is the story you guys are living. And so for me, my battle has been with humans because humans cannot accept anything except what they see. The only difference is you're coming from this and we're coming from here. I hope I make sense. Absolutely use discernment. I'm not asking you to believe me at all. I don't care one way or the other. So when I say I'm coming in as a personification, I'm coming in specifically to untangle information. There's a third of the population that has avatar robot bodies. Your guys' moon is an artificial construct. Validate anything I say within and you'll find out that I'm accurate. I'm not saying that I'm right, wrong, true, or untrue. You'll find I am accurate. Just out of the blue, something started to occur to my vessel. Outside of these skin suits, there used to only be one language. Pluto, which stands and represents for peace, love, unity, truth, and oneness. That's what Pluto stands for outside of your human realms. You have no wisdom about it, so shut the fuck up. Not even your intuitions are correct until you're fully aligned. You are the dark that I am battling. To you guys, this is a problem. For me, this is the greatest miracle that was ever created. This is Tesla technology. I'm battling dark within every single one I come across because, well, you can't be a galactic commander because look at your body. You can't be that. Go smoke some more packs of cigarettes because your voice is masculine. You know how many people tell me that I can't be an ascended being because I don't live in a mansion and show my riches? You're a demon, Linda. That's false light, Linda. And it's like, okay, we just put on skin suits and cloaks ourselves because you guys judge us so bad. Feel free to leave if you guys don't resonate. But even resonation is your own separation because you attach emotion to information. And when you look, for me, it's destructive watching y'all. It's heart-wrenching. The focus of how you all get distracted, if you will, right? Is that you make it about people. That's literally what you have to do, is tell your mind to shut up. Because your mind is information that attaches to out here. So you have to be the one to tell your mind to shut the fuck up. Tell this to shut up. This is all.
Okay, I'm going to stop it. Why would you tell your thinking mechanism to shut up?
They don't want you thinking for yourself.
Heather?
Okay. I wasn't listening to that, but I was watching. Can I make a comment really quick?
Yes, please.
First of all, everyone's face has dropped. The complete energy of this whole room.
Exactly.
First of all. And secondly, I'm sitting there and I'm watching all these motions like this and like this and like that. It's like all I'm seeing is disconnecting us from really the true Most High. and I don't know what she's saying or whatever. I don't want to hear it. But then I click unmute. And what did you say, Brenda? Exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
I thought they don't want us thinking for ourselves. We are, divine already. You know what I'm saying? So we don't need to bring in spirits or demons or angels or whatever they want to say. So that's all I wanted to say. But
there is something else that she will say on this, and when we watch it and we mute it, I'll tell you. And I think that it brings that point of separation.
And
against God is just, yeah.
Whereabouts is that? Do you know?
It should be coming up here any minute.
Okay. This is
yeah.
Heather's absolutely right. I don't actually even like playing this. I'm trying to find out where we were in here. We were close to, let's see. You just look at all of her hand gestures and look at her eyes. Hand gestures.
Yeah.
Let me see where we were.
I don't like her eyes, that's for sure. I've seen eyes like that before, and then I've seen them change in front of me, and I don't. She does have really.
Rather than play it, can you tell us what she's going to say?
She says that the good thing about her is she has fun and life. When we die, that we turn into light and we go away. And the thing she says is there's no fun and life in that. Basically, she's downing God, because that's what we do. We want to ascend, be with God. She says there's no fun in living in that. So yeah, her wanting to separate people, I don't understand her Facebook, because it's all about light and love and togetherness, but she says stuff like that. And it's like, I think she abuses her members when people aren't around.
Yes. Now we're going to be researching further on this individual, and we're going to be bringing updates on this. I'm going to read you something from the article. Okay. When a doomsday cult settles in Texas, again, a white sage with a cosmic dog worries families. And this is by the journalist Saran Warner. March 2023 is the 20th anniversary of the devastating death of 80 people at Waco, Texas, a ranch-type doomsday cult called the Branch Davidians. How has Texas forgotten so quickly the dangers of commune cult living? Perhaps they are yet unawares of a new doomsday cult turning heads and emptying bank accounts in Marietta, Texas. During the month of December 2022, I interviewed investigative journalist Saran Warner, this is Frankie Tees, about what cult he is researching now. Warner lives in Minnesota and cut his chops at a Minnesota Weekly, which closed during the pandemic. He turned his skills from a murder mystery investigation to cults, starting with The Body Cult, which that's another one we may be discussing. A story he broke by reporting continuously until it was picked up in 2022 by Newsweek. His site focuses on multiple cult stories and the ongoing documentary he's putting together on The Body, which you guys might want to research that, which has moved from Alaska to Washington and expanded to Australia with some members. It's a lot. This time he turns a critical eye to an upcoming alternative religious cult called Profundity Yours. Profundity, the quality of showing a clear and deep understanding of serious matters. This group is situated on a ranch in Marietta, Texas, started at a trailer park in Kempner, Texas by a woman named Linda Good McGillis. I'll present this in a running tally of most Syrians' statements due to length, omitting most of my comments and questions. The place is on a doomsday watch until March 2023. It could get ugly. Below are Warner's transcribed comments. This report is also on Frankie Files podcast if you would rather listen, live talk episode, but do be prepared for some oddities like Unto the Twilight Zone. Syrian, yes, I guess I'll just explain how this story came to me. I was on another podcast, Indoctrination, and she said in the episode, if you have a story or something, contact Syrian. He's easy to find. I got a lot of emails from people, trying to respond to everything that anybody sends me, but I've been so busy working on this documentary, thebodyintl.com, that I really didn't have time for another article. So let's get into this. Linda Good McGillis It's on their site, Profundity Years. There's a picture of her on the website and the front page. It's really just interesting. She's a sage who sort of got online and got hot during the pandemic when people were online searching for answers. Her answers were like, she's an alien walk-in with all this wisdom. She's basically Jesus Christ, a walk-in. Walking in means that an alien from a galactic empire walked into her body, killed her, and now she's called Christos Sophia. So I'm going to stop right there. That's at 3:14. Any comments, ladies?
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm not buying what she's selling.
Yeah, I
was
wanted to
listening
say a
her.
couple things. One of the things that about Linda that what I do know is apparently she has about 14,000 members, and she has quite a few people giving her money. And from what I've heard, they owned a lot of land, like maybe thousands of acres of land, and pretty big ranch, and so they have a pretty big following. And she owns the only restaurant for like 20 miles around. So the whole community has to go there, and they wear those T-shirts, huh, Brenda, that say,
Yes. The
"When
saying,
I drank the Kool-Aid, but
don't drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah. And that one says,
Yeah.
I drank the Kool-Aid and I lived.
I drank
yeah,
the
I
Kool-Aid
live.
and
Well,
lived.
maybe not, right?
Maybe
Right.
somebody walked in on you. Now I'm going to switch gears because we're at 12:38, so we just have a few minutes. But we're going to continue this in our next segment. So I wanted to apprise you guys of this. So if you all would like to do any research on this, you can. We're researching also serial killers.
Yes.
Do you believe there are missing people in Cass County? And we're not going to be able to talk
Maybe
on
100 is what they say. 100 disappeared people that vanished.
Yes.
And how
Okay.
long? In what time period?
I think it was.
It's been going on for years.
I think they said 2 years. It for sure. At
Well,
least the last 2
there's
years.
some a little further
Noticeable.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still researching it. The ones that I've looked at, the MO is that they find the vehicle or where they were, their wallet and their phone always there, but gone.
The
And
people are
so we believe there's a group of serial killers that are perpetrating these crimes, and so they're always trying to, like the truck. There's one. It was a guy named Eric who's a tattoo artist. He about 11 o'clock at night he left, and they end up found his truck with his 2 dogs that were shot in the head, his cell phone and his wallet, but no Eric, and that was in 218. Then there's another boy 2 years ago, was in his home. He vanished, and his cell phone and his wallet were in his home also. Then there's Bob. Bob just recently disappeared 3 weeks ago, very close to where the cult is, and very close in Douglasville, which is, maybe 15 miles from the cult. Doug was, it's not saying that there's a connection to that and the serial killers, but there's a lot of satanic activity is what we're noticing. There's a lot of, that's the connection between the Satanism and these things happening. Now, Bob, they found his truck. Supposedly, he got stuck down a road that nobody could drive down. I went and looked at the road. There's no way anybody would drive down this. It's like it has a washout and it's all mud. It's not even a road. And supposedly, his truck was there, and according to the information, he had kicked his wife and brother out of the house before this happened. And that apparently, or whatever, got back with his wife and the brother, and then he went to the feed store, and on the way home, which was like 11 or 12 o'clock at night, he calls as he got stuck on this road that nobody went down, and the brother-in-law went there, but he didn't want to leave because he had flat tires. So the next morning, the wife and the brother go there, and all there is the truck, his cell phone, and his wallet in the truck. And she said he would never live without his phone. Well, police had pinned the phone, which was like 15 miles away after he called her. That means he would have had to walk or go to this spot. But then the phone wasn't in the truck apparently until way later, supposedly, according to the wife, until, and then when they found it, it only had a 90% charge on it. It wasn't a percent charge. So, how if he was like, I'm not leaving my truck, I'm staying here, then how did the phone end up 15 miles down the road after the phone call and then back in the truck, and then he disappeared? And we drove it there. He could not have walked there back or whatever was going on. I just don't see it's possible. I mean, unless he caught from somebody or tried to ride, but I'm under the impression that Bob was in that truck and got stuck. I'm under the impression that Bob was killed somewhere and the truck was planted there, and the phone and wallet were planted there to make it look like that's where the crime scene was, because they looked in the woods and they didn't find Bob. Don't believe that Bob was anywhere near that. His truck was just planted there. That's my take on it.
What county is this? Where is this, Susie?
It's in Cass County.
It's in Cass County, right outside of Marietta, where the cult is.
And then I asked
Yes.
Susie, look up, because we work on things together. She'll find one thing and then I'll find another and substantiate it. I asked Susie to look up the town name because I lived in Temecula, which is next door to Marietta, spelled it a little bit differently, but the same name essentially. So I asked Susie to look up the name. Susie, what did you find when you looked up the name?
The name Marietta means a beloved, rebellious star of the sea.
So the sea is the Holy See, right? It could be interpreted as the Holy See,
Right.
which is the antithesis of holy. It's not holy.
Right.
at all.
And a beloved, rebellious star.
Right. So who's a rebellious star?
That's kind of like a description of Lucifer. Lucifer was considered a beloved, a rebellious morning star that fell.
And also, I don't know if you guys
Pretty
have looked
weird
into
name.
How far is this from Fort Hood and Bell County, Texas?
It's a ways, but still, I know that you have a whole. Go ahead, Brenda.
I throw stones at Fort Hood, and to get from here to there, it's roughly anywhere between, I'd have to say, 4 hours, depending on traffic going through places.
Yeah, there's a lot of
4.5 hours.
satanic activity going on in Fort Hood. I was looking into that the other day.
Yeah.
Trafficking, drug trafficking, cartels, SRA,
disappearances, murders.
Yep.
Yeah.
disappearances, all of it. And it's going through there as well. And then there's Stillhouse Dam near there and supposedly a portal to hell. Supposedly. It's a TikTok rumor. But
I don't
be
I
surprised.
don't think it's just Texas, because I have a friend actually in Utah who went missing years ago. He dropped his girlfriend off at the airport. She was flying back to Vegas. He supposedly went for a jog. He had just a pair of shorts on, his sneakers, and a T-shirt, and the guy disappeared. Dave never came back.
I heard about that.
You did? His name was Dave Brown. He's a good friend of mine. We're all skydivers, and he was living at my friend Clint's house in the driveway. Dave was going through a rough time, and he went missing, and he was found. All of it, his keys were at home, his wallet, everything. And they found his remains. I don't remember when. It was like a couple years later, and they're on the side of the road. We don't know what happened to him. Did he get hit by a car? Did he get eaten by an animal? We have no idea. So I think this stuff is like everywhere.
Well, I think now I haven't been out to Steelhouse. Unfortunately, I had an unfortunate accident that put me in a wheelchair, missing a leg. So it's hard for me to get out and do things.
Damn.
If I could get there, I would be able to feel there was a porthole.
Right.
But I have to be there.
Yeah. I mean, Brenda, he literally disappeared. It was like just gone.
Well,
And it
and
is connected to child porn. You said her husband was in jail for that. And
That's
it's always connected. Every serial killer is addicted to pornography.
Now,
Now-
we're not saying that she is a serial
Oh.
killer. However, there appear to me to be significant disappearances, and I believe that it's revolving
There-
around this cult and
Yes.
cult members. That's my
Well,
premise.
and
There's
it's
some
not only
spirit
that,
It comes
like
in
you-
through that.
like you said, Heather Fort Hood, I just read an article last night, as a matter of fact. There was a soldier that has disappeared,
Again,
and then his wife said something about it, talked about it, and now they found her dead.
yes. So, I mean, we know there's Galeen, I believe, was one of the first soldiers that they spoke about that was murdered.
Yes.
And I don't
Vanessa.
believe that it was, and because of her being, sexually targeted. I think it has to do with what she knew, because the method of her death was by, she was chopped up into little pieces by a machete, which that modus operandus, or MO, is one that's attributed to the cartels like Sinaloa Cartel, MS-13, various factions therein and of, and there are also sex trafficking through the military bases as well. Susie's former neighbor's wife was talking about perhaps representing this individual. I don't know if she ever did, but that was, something that was bantered around.
And then we've got the issue in Austin. Every time you turn around, they're finding somebody dead out there by, what is it? Yeah.
Susie,
So-
you keep your signal keeps going in and out. We can't actually hear what you're saying. Do you want to? We only have a
Me?
few more minutes.
Me? Or
No,
Susie?
Susie.
Oh.
Her signal's going in and out. We can't
Yeah.
hear you.
So we do have that problem too.
Yeah.
And they're saying they don't think it's serial. Yeah, but it's the same MO. Young men, they think that they're being picked up off of the bar strip out there in Austin, and they're ending up dead. So there's just so much right now going on in this whole circle.
Now
And
we
I'm
also
right in
have
the
some
middle.
other people that are going to be joining. Susie's probably going to try and sign back in, that are going to be joining in this endeavor, the Serial Killers Club, and assisting us maybe peripherally, such as T.A. Powell. T.A. Powell has written the Deadline about the Dixie Mafia, and so we've just been consulting her off the air about some of these things. And then also Rainey Robinson is a PI. She was working with Dog the Bounty Hunter. She's current PI right now in Missouri. That's the backstory, is one of her sites. And so we're consulting with her, asking her about, because what she does is she finds missing persons.
Right.
So Susie's back in the thing, but it says device is not connected.
Oh, we got to get her a computer.
I know that. If anybody wants to donate computers, by the way,
Yeah.
please contact me. My phone number is area code 619-779-9771. We're disseminating them to people that are in need. Some of the people that are investigative reporters that report on the Awake Nation, and other individuals that would like to share their intel on the podcast are in needs of laptops. So, text my phone, let me know. I'll give you David's address. You can mail it to them. We'll disseminate it to the proper individuals that require it. And also, if you have any cases, serial killer cases that you'd like us to investigate as well.
I do have an email for that.
Okay. What's your email, Brenda?
The email to contact us is serial killers with the S, actual serial killers, the number 4 and the letter U at gmail.com.
Is it SE or
Yes.
CE? So serial.
The S, yes.
Okay.
Serial killer, the number 4, the letter U at gmail.com.
And
So it's
hopefully,
serial killers for you.
if you're a serial killer, please don't contact us.
If you do, I'm highly, highly, highly
They do
are.
like to inject themselves into the investigation.
They do, as a matter of
They
fact.
do.
For that. They will
They would call in.
Apparently.
Yeah.
police.
Well,
They
see,
will make reports to the police and say that they saw things, and so that it's
see,
something to watch out for.
unfortunately for them, if they contact me, not only do I know the law enforcement side,
Because you're
but
you're
I'll be
former
able
law
to read
enforcement.
them and I'll know what they're up to.
Good for
So-
you. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Brenda
I
is
saw
former
your
law
bio.
enforcement and also an empath and also psychic.
I've been like this all my life. I put it on the shelf for many of years, so I'm starting to open back up now. But
Mhm.
I've already been told I can remote view. I'm very strong. I'm a medium, clairvoyant. I have spirits all over the
And
place.
that's why
What you
Rainey had been talking about actually she said, I'd like to get some psychics involved with some of my investigations. It was like, well, by the way, we are
As a
actually
matter of fact,
employing some of these things because I believe that this is an ability we all have.
we do.
Okay, I don't think that it's anything like, ooh, look at you.
Nope.
You can do this. We all have this ability to be able to speak to God, have God respond to us, give us intel. And then because my connection since I was a child has been very strong. And when I am told something and I know that that's something I'm being told by God, I'm like, all right, thank you, God. And it, as it turns out, it does transpire. Sometimes it takes me a little while to figure out what that message was because our interpretation is not exactly what he's showing us, but then years later we're like, oh.
Now I'll tell you, I've gone to a graveyard. I love graveyards. A lot of them are very peaceful.
I know.
And
I slept in graveyards when I was
I've
homeless.
gone to one and I've had somebody speaking to me who was trying to be nice, but I was very leery. I literally got bit in the back.
Ouch.
Wow.
So the people I was with, they all took off running. I'm like, stop. Do not step off the grass. So I had to go over there. We had to make sure that they, whatever, knew it could not attach to us. It could not leave, could not come with us. They were ready to just run and get in the car and leave me there. But they can be pretty nasty, and you got to be very careful because they like to, bad ones like to pretend that they're very good. And
Well,
they
yeah,
can-
that's
they
the
can
whole.
fool
That's
you
the
and make
ultimate.
you
That's the
like,
ultimate deception, Brenda.
yes.
I mean, when I
exactly.
was homeless and I knew that I was actually being followed by NSA and CIA, I slept in my vehicle. I had no fears because I was protected by God, Jesus Christ. I had no fears at all. I slept in my car and I was like, you guys are chicken shit. I know you're not going to come in here, but I don't have any problems with this. I also called out the names in the graveyards and I was getting messages, psychic messages from, I was asking God questions and he would like show. And that's the way I communicate with God. I
Yes.
ask the questions and he gives me answers and he gives all of us answers. But many people are like, well, God doesn't talk to me that way. Really? Because he's omnipresent. He can talk to you through a dog, through a child, through a
Yes.
street sign, through a
Yes.
license plate.
Bumper sticker.
If you grow up like me, my grandmother was like this. My grandmother was a psychic medium. Okay. And every time I would tell my mother, there's somebody over there, my mom would tell me, no, there isn't. You're seeing things at your imagination. My grandmother was the only one that understood and knew. Unfortunately, she had died when I was 17.
Oh,
So
wow.
I didn't have all that backup and embrace for it. So it was more like I just stopped talking about it. Now,
Yes.
I never lost the ability for spirits, but I had to set ground rules. If I was talking to somebody else, don't talk to me. If I'm asleep, leave me be. So, and it's been hard all of my life, and it hasn't been since I think the last 2 years. I have been opening up, and a lot of it's been hitting me really hard, sometimes to the point where it'll freak me out a little bit, but I try not to be afraid.
All right.
because
Well, ladies, I'm
needs
sorry,
to.
but this has been a wonderful last hour. We are coming to the end of our hour. I'd like to give everyone an opportunity to say where they can be contacted. Karen, Britt, how can people contact you? How can they find you? Karen, are you there? She looks frozen. Okay, Tara. Karen,
I'm
are you
here.
there? Okay. How can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook on the Elastic Army Band. I'm on Rumble, on the East Coast Hub. Karina Pataki. And he on the way.
Okay, we're having trouble hearing you, Karen. You can find Karen Britt on at East Coast Hub and also East Coast Hub and the ElasticArmyBand.com. Tara, where can people find you? Sacred Valley Podcast.
I'm on Rumble, and you can find me on Twitter as well.
And Heather Day, where can people find you?
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Heather Day Music. Thanks.
And then also we're going to be where's your serial killer podcast?
We do it on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and soon we'll be doing it on Rumble.
Excellent. And my name is Penny L.A. Shepherd. If you want to contact Susie Q, you can get in touch with me. My phone number is 619-779-9771. On behalf of the Awake Nation, myself, Penny L.A. Shepherd, and David Zublik, we want to thank you for watching the Awake Nation. We are going to be taking a break. We will not be here Saturday or on Monday. We will return on Tuesday. So please join us again. And our normal hours, our normal days are Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central and 9 to 2 Eastern. And we're out of time, ladies. So we're out of here. I'm just going to give a big Awake Nation kiss.
Bye, guys. Love y'all.
Bye. Thank you.
Shepherd out. Sorry, goodbye for today from the Awake Nation with co-host David Zublik and Penny L.A. Shepherd. We invite you to join us live on Rumble Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. Join us for the Awake Nation News, 1 hour all news, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern. Followed by 4 hours of one-on-one interviews with influencers who defy the mainstream narrative. The Awake Nation, the truth with a shot of espresso. On behalf of the Awake Nation, with co-host David Zublik and Penny L.A. Shepherd, we thank you for watching the Awake Nation and ask you to join us again Monday through Saturday.